Good evening and welcome. I normally talk about music, artists, videos and stuff. So tonight I'm going to talk about something slightly different from that you'll normally hear me talking about. This is a book by a couple of authors, Amo and Mani, who I have both got to know. Well, I know Amo very well, but Mani quite recently. And they are the co-authors of a book called Walk Like a Man. Well, good evening to both of you. And I suppose straight away, what I've got, the title, Amo, it says a lot to me straight away. Walk like a man, the pressures of being a man in modern society, world, etc., etc. The pressures that are on a man. Tell us, both of you, Mani as well, tell us a little bit about the title and a little bit, not too much, just a little bit about the book.
Okay, I'll start, Mani, you might want to chip in. Or you can do your But it's strange because Mani and I, we were part way through the book when we actually chose the title, because the story was important. But obviously, you've hit the nail on the head, Polly. Walk like a man, for me, has two meanings. One, as you've just said, the pressures on men to stand tall, to stand firm, and be a certain figure in the household. That kind of there's a lot of misunderstandings that men don't wobble, that men are firm and brick-like, but they're not. They are just as emotionally vulnerable as anyone. And then the second reason for me was, as a disabled person, it was always, my walk is different to non-disabled people, and that was quite a big thing. It comes throughout the book a lot in the issue that disabled people have, that of society, particularly the Asian community, has an issue with staring when a disabled person walks past. And so for me, walk like a man has the double meaning. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Mani.
No, I think you're right. I think it's quite multifaceted, and we started this process back in April, May last year, and I think the title only came to us Jan 2021. I feel like it was definitely this year, so we were a good portion of the way through this book. And it wasn't like we were sat brainstorming a title. I think it came out of a natural conversation, and we'd kind of muted a couple of other ideas, but neither of us felt that kind of pull or that connection to titles for this untitled book at this point. I can't even remember what we originally called it. I think I was just like, it was Amo's book at one point. Like that's all I'd saved it as. And it was just in natural conversation, and you just said it and we named it, and I was like, that fits. It's like anything else in life that fits. Like when I bought my house, like you walk in, you're like, yeah, this is my home. That you get that instinct that this is the right title. So, which is everything Amo's touched upon is great. But what's really quite funny, and what we didn't realize until the book had been edited, was like how much of a strong female presence there is in the book as well. So even though the story is an autobiography, well, semi-autobiography of Amo's account, the impact that women have had on him and his life, and and who he is, I guess, fictional and non-fictional.
Yeah, and that's an important point, because Polly, you've talked about the pressures of man, and but with the right support structures around any person, whether it's male or female, and in my case, I have been surrounded at home and in my professional life by strong female characters who I've leaned on, and I have no qualms in, I don't think it's, it's not like it's not manly to admit it. I admit it. I have leaned on women quite strongly who have been there for me, whether it's mothers, whether it's female managers that I've got. They're all very, very good, caring people who have really kind of helped me on my journey. So yeah, walk like a man. It's important for men, definitely, but the book also focuses strongly on the role of women in a man's journey as well.
The next question, I suppose, is why write this book now? Because, I mean, I've known you, Amo, since you was a teenager in Derby when you used to sing with the Bhangra group and stuff. So, you know, I mean, once again, you know, it might be my ignorance, but you had the disability then. So you must have felt them pressures then as well.
The thing is, Polly, I'm early 50s now, in my early 50s, and you're right. The book actually starts in the late teens, early 20s, and what the reason now is because it's only been a couple of years that I've started talking about my relationship with depression, with mental health. But I had those issues back then. I just didn't talk about them. I just suffered in silence and bottled it like many men do. And now I'm at the age where I can, you know, I don't know if this happens when you just get old and grumpy. You just think, right, I'm just going to talk about it. I don't care who's listening. I'm going to say it as it is. And a lot of that has started coming out. And people around me were talking about stuff. And I think, well, hang on, I've been through that. And a lot of people said, you know what, like you said, Polly, you've been a singer, you've been a politician, you've worked your way up to the career path into a city leader. Your story could inspire the next generation of disabled people, and they need role models. And so, you know, I mean, the thing is, I wrote the first 4 chapters, and then it sat on the shelf, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. I just thought, I've got other things to do. I'm just so busy. And then when lockdown happened, I kind of started scratching my head, and I thought, well, I still want to write the book, but I don't want to write it anymore. I want Mani to do it. So in true Amo Raju way, I started something but couldn't finish it, and and so I passed it on to Mani to do. So that's the reason why it happened. You know, hopefully, I mean, I think there's. I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but I think there's a story there which is going to be of interest to not just disabled people, but non-disabled people, the Asian community, the wider community of how the Asian community deals with disability, and the relationships between young and old people. All those kind of things are in there. So that's why I felt the need to do it now.
Well, you know, I just want to say, obviously, you know, you've been Asian, you've been Punjabi, you're having a disability, and like you said, not many people in our community would openly talk about this, and then on top of it say, you know, I've had depression as well. So, you know, hats off to you, Amo, for sort of sticking your neck out there and doing this. And I'd just like to bring Mani in there. And Mani, I mean, how many times did you have to sort of deal with this man moaning and groaning at you then?
I mean, we started in May, so I guess May 2020.
So it's been a while then.
No, I think I don't know. It's a very weird dynamic because I am a writer, but that's not what I studied. Like, my background is more technical. It's more business development. It's more sales, and I lost my job because of the pandemic. But I've been writing on and off for about 6 years for myself and freelance every so often, ad hoc for the people. And I thought, well, what can I do during lockdown? And I did a post on LinkedIn, probably around the same time I was looking for a writer.
Wow.
And I just put saying, I've lost my job. I've decided to just set up as a writer because I've been talking about this for 4 years when I moved to Birmingham, and I might as well, I've got nothing else to do. I'm jobless, so I might as well do something about this dream of mine. And the decision to hire me was pretty quick, wasn't it? I read the first few chapters, and you told me the vision for the book and how you wanted it to go and why you'd started it a certain way. And I was very honest with him. I said, I've never written a book. I've read thousands of them, and it's an industry that's always fascinated me. I've always wanted to write a book. And I think because I was just so honest, and I think probably the main reason is I'm also very vocal about my own mental health journey and my own dealings with depression. I was suffering with depression last February, and I was very vocal about that. And, you know, and when I was younger. So I think the fact that we were able to just, I think, connect on that level, and I could convey the emotions and the feelings and the I guess the depth of what depression looks like and how we put on a mask and then how we also deal with it privately and, you know, putting on a front in front of our family, because we are South Asian. We're not told anything about mental health growing up. You know, there's no such thing as depression in the Punjabi language. So you have to kind of just shut up and put up. And you think how many other people have gone through this, which is one of the reasons why I was so vocal through my blogs and through my social media profiles. And then, yeah, to write Amo's story with the element of his disability, and then it's twofold, isn't it? It does focus on the disability, but it probably focuses just as heavily on the mental health side of things, and particularly from a man's point of view, where, you know, you are told to just man up, or, you know, men don't cry, and, you know, men have to be this sort of strong, stoic head of the household figure, and we kind of tapped into that a little bit. And you would sort of say things to me and I'd write it, and I think I just hit the nail on the head, because they're experiences and emotions and feelings that I have been through. And then to write them on behalf of him, kind of, there's elements of my journey in there as well, I think. So yeah, I think it was just a good mix, just, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say divine timing, but, you know, when everything just sort of happens to fit in.
Into place.
Yeah, like, you know, I had nothing else to do. And then this journey, it was just, yeah, it was sort of an easy fit, really, wasn't it? From day one.
I suppose the next question, definitely, are you going to write a book as well about yourself and your journey of how you've got to where you are today?
I want to write I've written about my own life in a blog. It was like a 1,500 word blog, and I don't think I can turn that into a book. I think what I needed to say has been said. For me, and I think a lot of what I was feeling has kind of come out in Amo's book. And, you know, and I'm in such a great place in my life right now. And it's not that I don't connect with those emotions or that part of myself, but for me, particularly as a woman and a South Asian woman, and now as a South Asian soon to be published author, I want to write fun stories. I want to write stories that are a little bit more character driven and more sound like my parents, a bit more modern, like, you know, about what it's like to be a late 30s single woman living in the UK kind of thing. Like, we don't see enough of ourselves represented on TV. We're always oppressed, you know, we don't date, we don't go out, we don't drink, we don't have sex. And it would just be nice to write a book about a character who has that kind of life that everyone else has, and it not be about any particular South Asian issue, because there are so many books and blogs and people better versed to write those. I just want to write a story that's fun, I guess, as well. Amo's worn me out over the last year and a half, so
yeah, I can imagine that.
What readers are going to find is when they read the book, they're going to realize Mani's raw talent is about the taboo subjects that the society, particularly the Asian community, doesn't want to talk about, and that's one of the reasons I chose Mani. That, you know, I could have gone, if I wanted, for some established authors who would have had their own style, but Mani had a raw talent, and as Mani just said, she had her own relationship with her depression, and so getting her to write the way I wanted to wasn't going to be a challenge for me. It kind of, the book almost wrote itself when the both of us were together having our weekly catch-ups about, right, this episode, in this chapter, this is what we're talking about. It kind of wrote itself to some extent, because we were both on this, excuse the pun, we were both on the same page kind of thing. We
Oh,
I know, it's a bad joke.
But seriously, now that you've done one book together, can we see any more collaborations from the pair of you? Is there any quirky stories that, like Mani, you said you want something funny? I'm sure Amo's got a few funny stories in his times as maybe as a performer, or maybe even as a counsellor.
I mean, we could probably write a short story based on our experience working together.
Yeah,
that's been something itself. Yeah,
why not?
I mean, well, the thing is, this I've shown the book to a control group of about 5 or 6 people, and they do really like the 2 main characters. There's a dynamic. The protagonist, but the character based on me, is called AJ, and the book is about his relationship with the world, but particularly he leans quite heavily on his therapist, Sonia. And those 2 characters come out quite strongly in the book. So you know, if there is ever a sequel, if Money is ever, you know,
Work with
wants
you
to do it
again.
again, I think there's probably more that can happen with those two characters in terms of getting them to talk about a lot more, some of those taboo subjects. They could explore them quite well.
And it kind of mirrored, I think, our life, didn't it? We joked about this towards the end. Like, I ended up being the therapist.
Yeah.
Like, it's dynamic. And when we were talking about how many strong women that Amo is surrounded by, it's like, oh no, I've hired another one. Like, I've got another one, because I think obviously the first few months, and I think lockdown helped because we were able to focus a lot of time and energy, like sort of early to mid 2020 on it. And then I got a full-time job, and it took I think the process just sort of slowed a little bit, but it was very, this is one of the best things that did come out of lockdown, was the age of technology, me being able to record our sessions and then write and then, you know, share that with you. But it was also, it was just, yeah, like I say, we've met twice. Amo only thinks it's once because it was that memorable. We have only physically met twice in real life.
Twice, honestly, twice. It was.
But
twice,
that was twice in 2020. I don't think we've met at all this year.
Not
while
this
we
year,
finished this book, it's all been via like WhatsApp, by email, by video call, and somehow we've managed to pull off this project. But yeah, the two main characters in the first half of the book kind of, we realized, mirrored each other. And I think as our relationship grew and I became more confident and got to know him, I would be like, no, that's a stupid idea. We're not doing that. And, you know, I'd be very honest with my feedback, and vice versa, I think. So
the truth is, Polly, there was so much I wanted in the book, but she wouldn't let me put it in. She was worse than an editor, because she just chopped all the stuff. I thought, that's funny, oh, this happened and that. No, that's not in the book. Oh,
I was like, no, that doesn't work with my vision. Like, I know it's your life and it's your story, but no. And I think the one thing that we both hadn't expected was the real life friendship that came out of this.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I can understand that. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, like I said, I've known Amo since his teenage years, and I suppose over the years our friendship has sort of developed, and I've always, I'd like to say, you know, we are kind of like mutual friends, and we've got that respect for each other, and Amo is a very likable guy. Like to say that, but it's been very nice meeting you as well, Manny, and I think you're a very likable person, and maybe you know, when you do those quirky stories and things, maybe, you know, I'd love to be able to read a few of those, and maybe I can contribute to maybe giving you some quirky ideas as well, and you might be able to write on it. But this book, you know, Walk Like a Man, where can people get it if they want to get a copy of it? Or, you know, is it sort of on the online sort of sites you can order it from, or you can, you know, it's Audible now, you can actually listen and instead of reading. So will it be available on these sort of sites and social media and things?
I mean, Walk Like a Man is going to be for sale initially on Amazon. And it'll be on paperback, which I've got a copy here.
Okay.
And it's on Kindle and ebooks. Audio, definitely, that's something I'm already looking into. I mean, I know you can get the spoken version through Kindle anyway, but I think that's slightly electronic voice, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So, but I will be looking into getting it into a narrated by some professionals. So that's something I'm already looking into now. But it's available from the 21st of October. Oh, Polly's the man. There you go, Polly. There's a job for you. No, seriously, I might be talking to you about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's available on Amazon. You know, I checked today because you can pre-order it now already,
Okay.
and it's already number 27 in the charts in Amazon. So you know that's slightly exciting.
That's good news.
Yeah, so you know, and when you consider the amount of books that there are out there on Amazon, you know, I think you know, come the 21st, when people will start to be able to download it and buy it, you know, I think it'll do well. I think it'll have some kind of success. So yeah, that's how you can get it. Eventually, we do want it to be sold in bookshops, but that's a slightly longer journey, a longer process. But we wanted to get it out of this side of Christmas, So hence we've gone for online.
Okay. Well, Mani and Amo, thank you very much for talking to me about your first project. Obviously, I'm going to wish you both all the best, and I'm definitely, I'll wait for well, I'm going to get a copy, aren't I? And I want it signed by both of you. And I'll look forward to, your further projects as well. So the book, Walk Like a Man, will be available on all sites. You can get it on Amazon, and you can also get it on, was the Kindle? And hopefully
Kindle and ebooks,
and hopefully you'll be able to get it on Audible as well. But it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and all the best for your project, Walk Like a Man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.